Hi, today we're going to solve the Excel part of the Cambridge A Level May June 2024 9626 IT Paper 4 Advanced Practical Exam. So first of all, when we are given the exam, we should read the information and the instructions and then take a look at the files that we're given. And as it says here, when it says here to create a folder and save and copy the files in this folder and do not delete the source files, it's important because we might need the source files afterwards. Okay. And then always remember, you must use the most efficient methods to solve each task. This is very important, and we'll see in this exam why. So let's go down. Task 1, read the entire question before starting this task. You will need to determine the data required to complete the mail merge. Okay, so this is important in all IT exams. Don't just rush into solving the exam. Stop, understand the specific question, understand what is needed, understand the data that you need. Because if not, you will either not complete the task successfully, or you will realize afterwards that you need more data than you have imported, acquired, or whatever. So, open the file in a spreadsheet application. We know that the spreadsheet application is Excel, so we open Cakes sales data in Excel. And we have it here. And when we're asked to open the files, just take a look at whatever you have and try to understand it. So what do we have here? The file is called Cakes Sales, so it's something related to selling cakes. You have an order ID, so these are basically the orders with an account ID. Almond Delight, Angel Cake, Butterburg. So there's some products here, and there's numbers, and then there's the date. We suppose it should be the date of the order, and that's it. And then we have a customers. Those are the April orders, and we have the customers tab, where we have, from what I see here, customer information and some prices here. I don't know why, some outstanding. We'll see it in the tasks. And then we have products here with some product names, supplied in, the price, tax code, and then current tax rates and A and B. So that's supposedly related to this. And as we see, the cake names are the ones that we have here. Okay. So this is supposed to be some Excel with some orders, selling cakes, and we have a tab with the orders, a tab with the customers, and a tab with some financial data. Okay, so once we have understood what we have, we can go and answer the question. Examine the 3 worksheets. They each contain data for the Live and Bakery's sales for April 2024. The cost of each product is shown in the products worksheet. Note that items with tax code must be increased by 20%. Where's the tax code? Here. So all this, know that items with a tax code must be increased in 20%. And then here we have Cambridge not being very clear about the instructions, because you can think items with a tax code must be increased by 20%, all items. But no, it really refers to items with a tax code, the tax code A. And we can see this here. But Cambridge, why do you do this? Why don't you use another letter and you don't have these confusions? I don't know. Sometimes they're not really very clear. But those items that have the tax code A have to be increased by 20%, and it's also specified here. Be careful with this. Every word in the Cambridge exam is important. So create a single replicable formula. So you should only use one formula, and it should be replicable, to calculate the cost, including tax of an item in an order. Replicate the formula for all items and orders. Calculate the cost for each order as shown. Okay, so we've given here some advice, and it's normally related to our Excel sheet. So let's take a look, and we go to orders, and it starts in M, and in M we have Almond, Angel, again the same products, and total for order till V. So from what it says here, I've got to copy this here. Let's open that. And by the way, it's very important that you read everything until the end of the question. Save your spreadsheet, followed by the center number, blah, blah, blah. And then you have the database. Okay, so this is this part. Okay, question 1 is only this. So we have to get here. And as you see, I'm going to open this once too. As you see, we have a last V column which says total for order, and this I have to include it in the same format and everything as before. Okay, so done. That's my presentation. Now what do I have to, I have the prices here. So this single replicable formula to calculate the cost is going to include these prices, and I can check them, and this is very handy because that way I know if I'm doing it right or not. Some students, when I've seen them try to solve this exam, they immediately went here and then they did another table to calculate the final price of the product with the tax code. But then you're using another formula here, so that's not a single formula, because the single formula has to go here. So whatever you include, you have to do it from here. That's the trick about this. So, and obviously it's going to be, we have to use a VLOOKUP. Okay. That VLOOKUP has to calculate has to increase the price in 20% only if it's an A. And then we'll see that the price then depends on the quantity which is here. And so we have to calculate depending on that too. So the best thing in this case where we use nested functions, I recommend you to work from inside outside and from the easiest, and then start complicating things. Because if you try to do the whole formula and something doesn't work, you never know which piece is not working. So I'm going to start here and try to see if I can find which products I have to multiply, or the final price multiplied for those that have a tax of the code of A. So I have to go here, and then there's I could use, as I'm going to select this table a lot, I could just select it afterwards. But what I'm going to do, I like to do here, select the whole table and give it a name. So I'm going to call this the products table. Why? Because that way I don't have to select it every time. I just can call it whenever I need it. So I'm going to go here. So I'm going to use a VLOOKUP. Why VLOOKUP? Because the data here is in columns, so it's vertical. So I'm going to use a VLOOKUP. So what I'm going to do first is try to find if it's an A or a B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a VLOOKUP of the product table and return force column to see if it's an A. Perfect. And then if I copy this, I get a B. So Almond Delight is an A, Angel Cake is a B. So that's correct. I've got the code that looks for the letter. So if that letter that I'm looking for is an A, then the price is going to be the number of items that I have multiplied by the price in the product table. And for the price in the product table, I have to do another VLOOKUP. But it's not very complicated because it's the same. It's I'm going to look for the same product in the products table, but this time the price was column 3, I think. Let me copy this. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, correct. So if it's an A, return this times the price and multiply that by 1.20 because it has to be a 20% increase if it's an A. If it's not an A, I could just check if it's a B or not. But so I could put another if, and if it's a B, then whatever. But in this case, it's either an A or a B, so I don't even have to do that. The only two cases are if it's an A, and if it's not, I just have to get the quantities and multiply it by the price here. Okay. Oh, it's the 1.20. Okay. So again, I'm going to go back to the code. If my code, tax code, which I look for my product, I look for my, in the products table, and the code is in column 4. If that's an A, I multiply the quantity here in my order by the same lookup but column 3, which is the price. And as it's an A, I have to multiply it by 1.2. And if it's not, it's a B, so I'm going to multiply the quantity just by the column 3, which is the price. I'm not going to increase it in anything. Okay, so let me check 35.94. Let's go back to the exam. 35.94, that's perfect. So it works. Some students, when they started this, they didn't realize that these numbers were the quantities, and they did the same formula without the C2s. So I'm going to remove them just a second so that you see what happens here. And then you should realize that there's a difference, and then think why that difference is there. Okay. The next thing is that obviously I would need to, this is in pounds. Well, I'll put it in pounds. Format cells, currency, two decimal places, and the symbol is going to be the pound. So let's look for the pound. It was here, I think. English pound. Okay. The formula works. Now I have to see if it's replicable. I have to be very careful here with various things. First of all, see if I have created the correct relationship, so the correct coding here, and see if when I change the columns and the rows, this changed accordingly. Okay, so the one hasn't got to change because so is going to be 1. So I'm going to put the dollar here because I don't want the dollar to change. Okay, and that's a dollar there, and that's a dollar there. Why? It's always going to look for the column and the first row. Okay, if I do this and I go downwards, it's still going to look for M1, and if I go to the other one, it's going to go look for N1. If I don't do that, if I leave it like this, when I go downwards, it's going to change to M2. Okay? So I have to be very careful with that when I replicate the formulas. Solution is, I don't want this to change, the 1. It's always going to be the first row. So I'm going to leave that like that. Okay? And now, C2. C2, when I go downwards, I want it to change to C3. C3, and when I go left, I want to change it to D. So that shouldn't change. And by name in the products table, I have saved myself some trouble because products table is never going to change. If I call the table like this, okay, product table. I'm going to put an VLOOKUP, okay? VLOOKUP of this value in, if I don't give it a name and just leave it like this, okay? So supposedly I'm looking for a value here. If I use this type of code, my A and my 1 and my D and my 9. So this is my formula, my table. This shouldn't change, should never change. By giving it a name, I've made it that it doesn't change. But if I do it like this, and then I copy it, see that has changed. Okay, so if you're going to refer to a table that shouldn't change, remember that you have to then put dollars everywhere, because you don't want it to change. And then as you go downwards, that's not going to change. Okay, this is not working right now, but because it doesn't find the code. But if I look for N1 here, yeah, so that now replicates. Okay, so if you're going to call a table and you don't want the table to change when you copy it, either use the dollars everywhere or do as I've done, just give it a name and that won't change. Okay, so supposedly my formula should be replicable as they. So I'm going to check 48, that's 35, 48, 99, 35, 48, 99, 95, 35, 48, 99, 95, 29, 15, 13, 29, 15, 13, 41, 76, 41, 76. So it seems to work. I'm going to replicate that downwards. And I'm just going to check, for example, the last row. So that's the 8th. 64, 69, 34, 34, 159, 23, 34, 159, 23, 5, 79, 13, 5, 79, 13, 59, 67. And that's the total which I haven't calculated. So my formula is, as they have ordered, it's one formula. It only uses one formula, and it's replicable. Okay, this should give me the whole points. If I do the total of the order, but obviously the total of the order is just adding up all those and just going downwards, and that's 459, 570, 512, 459, 570, 512. That's good. Okay, so this should give me all the points here for all the 10 points for my Excel of this part of the exam. Okay.